Hi everyone, it's Heather here at Creative Faith Art Studio, and today I'm just going to walk through the most recent journals I've made. These are traveler's notebook covers that I constructed from a grocery bag, and some fabric scraps that I got from Tiny Home Treasures is her name on Instagram. And I just love the things she has. I recently purchased some Civil War era or style fabric scraps from her, so I use those for this journal. So for this, I just used like the fold of the grocery bag and then like the little arrows that are on the top of this bag. It just so happens that it follows the same dimensions of some little notebooks that I bought, like the dollar bins at Michael's. And so and I really liked making these. They were fairly quick, and I think they turned out super cute. So not to toot my own horn, but doot doot. So I just, this is a little different than the ones I showed in my previous video with the flip through because I did a little fabric collage on this. I used just some PVA glue. I don't know if you noticed, but I actually just keep the bag folded, so so it's two layers, and then I just used the glue stick to glue the gussets in the bag together to make it just one piece. And then I used some PVA glue, and I kind of did a haphazard job of you can see like cutting away some scraps and stuff so I could save some of that fabric for the decorations and the embellishments on the inside and the insert of the journal. But yeah, I just kind of put everything together and with some PVA glue, and I kind of stay away from the edges because I'm gonna take this to my sewing machine eventually and stitch everything down. So so yeah, I don't know where I found Joanne and her um, fabrics. I think just on Instagram. She had some really adorable. She also has beautiful fabric, and she had some vintage. I can't even think of the patterns, sewing patterns, and just adorable that I was able to snag. So I keep a close eye on things she has on sale in her Etsy shop. Anyway, so I have some cotton muslin, and this is where I make the little, what I call like a plaque for the front of the cover. I'm using a stamp that I don't know where I even got it from, but I love it and I use it all the time, with some permanent ink. And I just stamped the butterflies on there and then make kind of a little collage for to kind of put on the front cover. This muslin is actually it's an organic cotton, and it's kind of a waste to use it on journals, but it's so pretty and so soft. And I actually originally bought it because my husband and I were drinking a lot of tea at the time, and I wanted to make our own tea bags, which I did. But I have a lot of it left. Like, you don't know, like when you buy a couple yards of muslin and you just make a few tea bags, how much you're gonna have left, and it's a lot. So, so when I put that little paper scrap on there, and it didn't go like with the color scheme I was thinking or had envisioned in my head. So I found a little sheet music scrap in my little fabric bin or scrap bin, and decided to use that. So now I have that. The background is dry, the main cover is dry, and so I just tacked down that muslin and the other little bits of my collage on the front so I can sew it down. And I do let this dry also. So, you don't really realize like how long it takes to do a project when you're doing, 5 or 4 of them at a time. But when you're doing just one, it really takes a long time to wait for stuff to dry. So I actually did this journal over like 3 days time, which seemed a little ridiculous because it didn't take me that long to do the other ones, although I was really focused and excited like when I did the other one. So anyway, so here's the back too. I didn't do this on the other ones, but this one I put a little collage on the back of it as well. So And then here it is all stitched together. I did not line the inside at this point yet because I didn't want the stitching to show on the inside lining. So I use some, this is a fairly lightweight gesso. It's a, um, I don't even know, I guess I showed you what brand it was, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. I have another one that's fairly thick that I use on canvas and stuff. Um, that's more of like, it has more coverage, but this is really nice for this because it just mutes the tones of the fabric a little more and kind of just makes it look faded and used and loved, and I really like it. So, and I also like it because, you know, once it dries, even just a little bit, it dries really quickly, and then you can go over it again and it gets even lighter. So here is my homemade texture paste, and I know you're supposed to use white acrylic paint to make it, but I did not. I use silver and I love it. I love everything about it. I love that it dries kind of matte, but there's a little bit of sparkle in it because it's silver paint. So it's kind of fun. And it's a cool texture, and when you touch it, it's bumpy and rough, and I like it a lot. So I will put the link in the description box on where I got the recipe for this. It was another YouTube person, so, and yeah, I'll share that. So now this is all dry, and I have this fabric, which I believe I got in a, oh gosh, I think it was at the thrift store. I'm a thrift store shopper. I just love them. And I believe this is where I got it. It was like $1. And I think there's a good yard and a half of fabric. And I did like kind of a rough cut on that just to, you know, to line the inside. And then I was going to make up, you know, use some to make a pocket. And I'm a terrible, terrible person at apparently cutting straight lines. So you can see on the bottom of that, it's like, it's horrific. But that's okay, because I'm going to patch it and I'm going to cover it and put a pocket on it, and it's all good. So here again, I'm going to, this time I do a little more coverage with that glue because I'm only going to sew around the edges this time, but I keep the glue away from the edges because I don't want my machine to get all gummed up. And so, yeah, there we go, patching that little edge. And then this is a lace that has a lining on it. I think it's for like, I'm guessing it's for like lingerie. I think it's like a, yeah, I think it's for like a slip or something. But I got that in a bag of fabric from a different thrift store, and it was all wedding trims. So that was kind of fun. So I didn't cut anything to size. I just cut it, sewed it down, and here I am just trimming off the excess. So, and I love the rough edges and the strings and threads hanging off of it. It just makes me so happy. Not to say that I don't like when there's some people who do some amazing work, and I would buy their journals in a heartbeat because they're so beautiful, like Victorian and lace and perfect, and there's no rough edges, and I think they're stunning. But for me making these, and I find the ones I like the most are just kind of rough and neutral, and I get to put all my fun stuff inside of them. So here I'm punching the eyelet holes, and I'm so sorry about the camera shake. I didn't think about it at the time. But since I'm making a traveler's notebook, I do the one in the center for the closure, elastic closure, and then I have the 3 on top and 3 on the bottom. I'm going to make a four strand, can't think of the word, thing, the the cords that hold the inserts in. I'm doing 4 of those on the inside, so kind of a standard thing. But and I'm pretty sure I said this before, but I made some inserts that fit this size, but I found some little dollar dip-in Michaels notebooks that fit perfectly in here. So I have in the one I actually got, it's the same size as the one by Stitches from Julia, and I love her stuff too. But she sold the one I bought from her. She has a really nice, it's a heavier cover than this. She uses a really nice interfacing in her journals. But anyway, the size is kind of what I was going for, and I just so happened I had bought these little notebooks at Michael's because I really liked them, and they were $1. And I have a thing with stationery. I don't know what my deal is, but I bought them, and then they just fit perfect. So that made me happy, very very happy. So here I am just threading these, putting the elastic bands in, and the closure, and that's pretty much it. I just did a key and a button, I think, on this one. The other ones I did a bead, but yeah, I'm very happy with the way it turned out. It just really super fun to put together. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or ask them. I would be happy to share anything. I'm going to be doing some flip throughs of some of the individual journals that I do, because I do think I'm going to try to sell some. I'm a little intimidated by that, but I'm going to try it anyway. And we'll just see how it goes, because you never know how things go until you try. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.